Hey everyone, so you want to learn what is a good conversion rate on Google Ads. Well, to start off, I want to say that this video is for lead generation campaigns on Google search, not e-commerce. The reason is that e-commerce and lead generation, they're very different, so they're going to have very different conversion rates. Now, when it comes to lead generation on Google search, we try to be at 15% conversion rate, which we consider to be very good in that, look, what is that? Maybe every 6-7 clicks, we're getting one person to take an action. Of course, in some campaigns, maybe we'll be a little bit below that 15%. In some others, we're going to be a little bit higher. Now, we feel that the way that we're actually able to achieve this 15% or greater comes down to one, landing page. So that means we focus on getting a really good landing page that is geared towards getting people to take action. Number two, tracking. We track phone calls and form submissions on our campaigns. That way, we're able to make sure that if we're getting calls, that Google is learning about them, and then we can double down on what it is that's working. And three, when it comes to our keywords, we usually start off being very restrictive because those restrictive keywords allow us to get good amount of quality leads at the beginning. And then over time, we might actually go after a few more broader terms or maybe phrase match terms. That way we're able to start decreasing the cost per lead. But really the focus is on generating good leads. And then that way, then you're able to do a few more things over time. So let's go over some of these campaigns that I have here just to show you what we try to do. So as you'll see here, this specific client, we're going after Texas, Arizona, and Georgia. We have 3 separate campaigns, each with a specific landing page. So if you go in there, one page is going to say Texas, the other one's going to say Arizona, the other one's going to say Georgia. And the reason we do that is so that people really can see that that is very relevant to what they're searching for. And as you'll see on the right hand side, we have different conversion rates, around 21% average, which is really good. Now, what you really need to keep in mind, and I mentioned it just now, is that you really need to have good tracking with your campaigns. As you'll see here, we're tracking form captures, we're tracking first-time phone calls on the landing page itself, and then calls from ads, which these are calls from the call extensions. You want to be able to track all this so that then Google is able to really double down on what it is that's working. I'll add though that you do not want to go after very cheap clicks. And the reason is that sometimes when you go after cheap clicks, it's because it might be a cheap or very low quality lead. What we find is that at the beginning, we might go very competitive with our clicks or cost per clicks in that we might be at the higher end. And then over time, once we get enough data, we'll go maximize conversions with target CPA. So that is really what's been working for us. Here's another example of another company here. So in the last 30 days, we are getting these clicks a little bit more expensive, but our conversion rate here is a lot higher. Of course, these are companies in very different industries, but we do the same approach. We're going after very, targeted keywords with landing pages, and we're being very competitive until then we get the opportunity to go into maximize conversions and use some of that Google automated bidding, which, if you were to ask me, 35% conversion rate is pretty good. And I have a few other campaigns that are around that same level, and maybe like 1 or 2 that are a little bit lower than that. At the end of the day, the cost that you're actually spending per click is going to, whether that's good or not, is going to depend on if you're actually able to sell. You can get all the leads in the world, but if you're not actually able to sell to those leads, then it's not going to help you. So you definitely need to keep in mind that you need to get as many leads as possible, but that they're quality leads. And the best way to do that is to maybe monitor those leads. If you're getting calls, listen to those calls, see how those calls are going. If you're getting form submissions, reach out to the team that's receiving those form submissions and ask them how those conversations went. And then above all, as long as you have all the data in the same place, next month you can look back and say, okay, what happened to this lead that called on Monday? What happened to this lead that called on Tuesday? And then that way you're able to say, okay, look, if we got 100 leads, we were actually able to sell this much. Funny enough, the other day I was speaking to a client and we were going after 2 different campaigns, but really it was one campaign initially before we broke it down. And in that particular campaign, we were targeting different areas. And after I told him to break down how many sales they got in each specific city, we realized that, look, Google was allocating more budget to city A, but city A wasn't converting as well as city B. So what we did is we split up the campaign, put more budget towards what was giving us a lower cost per sale. Sure, maybe the cost per lead was a little bit more expensive, but those were converting at much greater levels. And then, that's something we're doubling down on. But that's what you need to keep in mind. It's definitely about leads, but it's also definitely about sales. So I hope that this video was helpful. I'm going to do a few more videos going over specifically, how to create landing pages or what your landing pages need to have, as well as maybe some of the call tracking stuff and how you can get that going for your campaigns. So if you want to follow along, make sure you subscribe and check out this video that is going to help you to be able to learn how to follow up with these leads, because you can get these leads in the door before, but if you are not following up, guess what? These leads, they're not going to convert. So you need to make sure that you are actually able to convert them. Thank you very much, and we'll talk soon.